Wednesday. How's everybody doing? I'm at work. I slowed down just a little bit. I had gotten my root canal yesterday, and then on the way home, I was talking to my husband on the phone, and I was talking about how it was starting to wear off. So my numbing, because I was numb for a little while after. I'm like, oh man, it's starting to wear off. When I get home, I need to make sure to take a Motrin. And I felt with my tongue the tooth that had the root canal. My cap was gone. So I'd only had it on for 6 hours. So I don't know if I accidentally swallowed it while I was still numb on that side. I don't know what happened to it. So this morning I called and I told him, I'm like, hey, I just had the root canal yesterday. My cap is gone. I must have swallowed it because I don't have it. And so they had me come in, and I went there, and they're like, well, there's not really anything we can do. You need to go to your primary dentist, and they'll go ahead and just set you up to put on a permanent, not a cap, crown, because that was just temporary anyway. So I'm like, okay. So then I called my dentist, and like, no, they need to do it because they're the ones that performed the root canal. I'm like, well, I just left their office and they said they're not doing it, that you needed to do it. So the doctor was there, so he had me drive, so they're a little ways away. So then I went over there, and then he looked at it. He goes, well, you're going to have another one done next week, so let's just wait on doing this one, and we'll do them both at the same time. So it was like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, that it was just kind of wasted. So I'm trying to get caught up. So I figured, well, I had a few minutes here, I would go ahead and do the advent calendar. Sorry, I just put a mint in my mouth, so that's why. So we are on 16. 16 is the owl right there. Why did the witch go to the doctor? She had a dizzy spell. Been there, done that. That's cute. I wouldn't have gotten dizzy out of that picture, but it is what it is. And then for today's story, let me pull it up really fast. It is about J.D. and George Dowdy. This happened in 1948. And all the title says it's just Mugshot Monday. So on the site where I'm getting these, it just has different short stories with their mugshots. I will, when I'm reading the story, I'll just have them up for you guys to see it as I'm reading it, like I did, like I've had in the past. So, all right, guys, you guys ready for story number 10? This has been a lot of fun, a lot of fun. All right, get ready, because here it comes. In late October 1948, Hattiesburg, Mississippi house painter Walter Dorman, 42 or 44, was vacationing at the fishing camp near Tallulah in the northeast corner of Louisiana. The fishing camp was owned and operated by George Dowdy, 68, and his son, J.D. Dowdy, 23, a World War II Army veteran. On the night of October 22nd, J.D. Dowdy and Dorman were seen together near the fishing cabin. Later, at 11:30,
Dorman entered his fishing cabin and was killed instantly when it exploded. Exploded is the wrong word. The cabin blew apart into several thousand pieces. Dorman's legs were the primary body parts left to identify him. Relatives of Dowdy identified the legs as belonging to him. The Monroe News-Star reported on October 28th, relatives of young Dowdy asserted the legs were the only remains of their brother and young son. He was like a brother to me, the grieving father, George Dowdy, told a local newspaper reporter. 2 days after the explosion, Walter Dorman's wife reported him missing. Police tracked Dorman to the fishing camp where they discovered that the owner's son, J.D. Dowdy, had been killed in an explosion several days before. The whole town was still talking about it, since the blast was felt by all within a 5-mile radius. But since Dorman wasn't there, police began asking questions and learned that young Dowdy had $36,000 in life insurance with a double indemnity clause. This raised more questions, which prompted witnesses to come forward and start talking. Some of them told investigators that JD had recently purchased a 50-pound case of dynamite. A cab driver came forward to report that on the night of the explosion, he drove 2 men within 1/2 mile of the rural fishing cabin. One of them was reportedly drunk. Both men fit the description of Walter Dorman and J.D. Dowdy. George Dowdy, the straw boss of a nearby plantation, was arrested 2 days after the explosion. During questioning, the older Dowdy was inconsistent in his explanations for the dynamite, the large life insurance policy for his son, his apparent lack of grief over his son's death, and, more importantly, his account for the unknown whereabouts of Walter Dorman. Backed into a corner, he confessed. The Dowdy's master plan was to have George declare the remains of Walter Dorman were that of his son, J.D., and then use the death certificate to collect $30,000 in life insurance. His son, J.D., had already been on the run when the all points bulletin for his arrest went out over the wires. Described by all who knew him as not very bright, J.D. was captured on November 1st near the Louisiana-Texas border, where he had just left the home of his sister. At his trial, the prosecution called 50 witnesses and presented strong circumstantial evidence. Dowdy's court-appointed defense attorney called 5 witnesses, friends of J.D.'s, who reported that he was goofy and weird and unusual. A poor attempt to convince the jury he was mentally deficient and for whom the death penalty would be too extreme. It didn't work. J.D. Dowdy was found guilty and eventually executed on January 12, 1951, protesting his innocence. Instead of being electrocuted at the state prison in Angola, he was executed in a portable electric chair in Mason Parish, the parish for Tallulah.
Interviewed several hours before his execution, Dowdy was asked how he felt. I hold no grudges and can explain everything they have against me. As he was being executed, his mother and sister sat in their automobile parked. As he was being executed, his mother and sister sat in their automobile parked across the street from the parish jail. They had visited with him the evening before his execution, but were not allowed to attend his execution. He was buried in his mother's hometown of Ringling, Oklahoma. Well, that's sad. Walter just wanted to go fishing. And they had other plans for him, didn't they? All for $36,000. There was a couple little notes in here that I didn't read. It did say author's note, fishermen living along the river often use dynamite to catch fish. You see that in the movies, but I guess they did really do it. And then also, And I'll show you guys a picture. This is Walter Dorman. And then also there's a little side note. So it said the $36,000 death certificate in the life insurance. I don't know why it says the 2019 equivalent. So I guess this is when the guy was writing this story. So it says, okay, so I'm just going to go back. Backed into a corner, he confessed. Their master plan was to have George declare the remains of Walter were his son JD, and then use the $36,000 life insurance. So when they wrote this story in 2019, the $36,000 would have been equivalent to $380,000. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. I'm just gonna try and keep this short. Sorry, my hair got stuck in my glasses. I do have a pretty good sized Temu haul I want to do. I think it has some clothes, and I really want to get that open and get that started. So be looking out for that next. All right, guys, thank you guys again. I really do appreciate you guys come on here and watching. And I'm really enjoying doing this. Next year I'm going to do it again, but I think I'm going to do a little bit different. This is my first time, so I'm taking notes of what to do for next time. So all right, guys, I'm going to get off here. I hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you guys soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.